And we are live on a Wednesday morning. No Sean today, but it's all right. You got me and up. Uh, that's today. Quite the day, huh? First round
Interesting.
picks just flying around for defenders. Uh, got to see Cam Boozer on the national stage for a long time. I know you and I
Well,
aren't
some of us did.
necessarily I know necessarily you and I aren't necessarily fans of the school in Durham, but I can't deny that that's a good team. I just can't. And
Yeah.
before that, had some more freshmen make their debuts. It's been a good week of sports. I mean, what a game 7 we got for baseball, by the way. All right, seems like Unk's a little frozen. Saturday night, no, excuse me. So Friday night was game 6. I had to work the Syracuse and North Carolina game where it felt like it felt so. Fran Brown says he wants Syracuse to. He's trying to win conference and national championships at Syracuse. Good luck with it. It felt like so they started a true freshman walk on lacrosse player at quarterback. I was saying in the
Wow.
press box, this feels like they are sacrificing Joe Filardi for future success. Like they're offering him up as a sacrifice to the football gods and hoping that blesses them with some type of success in the future. I don't know. I will say I'm glad that game was Friday instead of Saturday. Because I got to witness a great game 7. I think we watched extra innings on our phones in the press room on Friday night. So yeah, pretty pretty good weekend of sports. And then of course got my
Well,
daughter college football game Saturday.
I had a great weekend of sports as well. Really leading into this week, phenomenal game World Series. I mean, it's one of the best I've seen, and I was excited. I was going to be excited either way, quite frankly, because I have I'm a Dodgers fan. I guess modern day outside of my Orioles. That'd be my National League team. Um, But once upon a time, I was a Toronto Blue Jays fan, basically during their World Series run, because two of my favorite players of all time were on those teams, Roberto Alomar and Ricky Henderson. So that just made me, lock in for them as they were in the World Series, not throughout the season. I'm an Orioles fan, tried and true. But I was just rooting for my guys to get their rings, and they did. So that was a good thing. And so if they had won this championship, it would have just been nostalgic, right?
Yeah,
My
first
high,
one since the Joe Carter days. Yeah.
yeah, there you go, 30 some years. My high school team played its rivalry game, City Poly, biggest thing going on in the city of Baltimore. Unfortunately, we came up on the wrong
Y'all
side of
lost
the
this weekend.
for the first time in 13 years. So you look at it that way, we're 12-1 in the last 13 games. Not a bad record, but it's always disappointing to lose to them, because then that's bragging rights for a whole year for their team. So
So
and their fan base. So
so Quicksilver was on 92Q, or is he on 95.9 now? One of
19,
uh
yeah, I saw that.
yeah, I mean, just he was talking his trash all week long. And then he had to
Can you still
welcome,
see me?
yeah, I see you. And he had to welcome Polly onto his radio show Monday morning and issue congratulations. Ooh, yeah, I feel bad for y'all. And I think that was Polly's first win of the season too. Woo, woo.
Oh, really?
Anyways,
Oh, God.
Polly has not been good in football lately. Like they
Wow. I didn't know
became
that.
Polly became a basketball powerhouse, and just football got thrown to the wayside. I think they play my alma mater Friday. I think they play Aberdeen. for like last
Okay.
game for playoffs or something like that. Anyways, let's get into something that people actually know what in the world we're talking about. The first college football playoff rankings were last
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
So I've got to say, and I put out a tweet last night, and you can stop me if I'm going just a little too far on this one. Those rankings, I got to be honest with you, best initial rankings we've seen since this thing started. I had no qualms. Like in my AP ballot for the week, I didn't have Missouri as low, and I had Memphis in instead of Washington. But then once you
Okay.
get up towards like the top 19, and I didn't have Iowa there. And I didn't have Pitt in. But once you get towards like 19 and up, there was not much difference in my poll in what the committee went for. The only difference was I did not drop Vanderbilt all the way down to 16th and have Notre Dame at 10. I went and looked back at the resumes, and I couldn't argue with it. I couldn't argue with it. And then the CFP, they did a conference call after the show last night. And like
Okay.
they did a great job explaining their thinking. I look at this and I don't see any issues with it. I am one of the few people, not few, one of the many people arguing for Indiana over Ohio State.
Why
But
is that?
outside of it, so they both have 2 top 25 wins. I think Indiana's wins have come against higher ranked teams.
Okay.
So that was just my tiebreaker, to be honest with you. But I'm not getting on some soapbox for it. And I had Brigham Young
You're pulling
up
hairs
at
there. Yeah.
yeah, and I had Brigham Young up at 4 simply because they're one of 4 final undefeated teams in the country, and they're a conference champion as of right now. So, but them versus Texas Tech is going to be a great game this weekend. What were your takeaways from the list last night?
So shocking to see Virginia that low, to be very honest. I mean, ACC is not the power it used to be, but
No.
8-1 in that conference is still pretty impressive. So based on this, they're higher than Georgia Tech, which is kind of surprising. But then, I guess because quality of opponent. But Georgia Tech has been impressive this year as well. So those are two that come to mind. I agree with you on the thought about Vanderbilt. And yeah, I'd say pretty much this ranking, pans out the way it should. So
for me, I think Georgia Tech losing double digits in Raleigh this weekend, that killed the Yellow Jackets. The ACC November has not been good to the ACC for the last few football seasons whatsoever.
Sure.
The Hurricanes aren't back. Losing to SMU in overtime. I think that's it. Granted, some teams still have to beat up on each other. Texas has Georgia and Texas A&M remaining on the schedule.
Brutal.
Yeah, Notre Dame plays no one. I'll be honest with you, so they'll be fine. Oregon's last 3 weeks are going to be their best 3 games of the season. So we'll see, because I wouldn't put it past Dan Lanning to lose 1 or 2 of those. Bama's schedule isn't easy moving forward. Neither
They
is
still got
Oklahoma.
Auburn, or did they already play Auburn?
Yeah, they still got the Iron Bowl, but I don't know how much I'm digging that this year. Oklahoma still has to play
Not
Missouri
the same.
for the peace fight. Yeah. So like some of these teams still have to beat up on each other. And I'm not completely sold on Utah. I'll be honest with you. So we'll see where they're at. So a 2-bid ACC is not out of the question right now. However, I think it is highly unlikely. I think we're
Yeah, it's
headed
a
towards.
stretch.
I think we're headed towards Virginia and Louisville and Charlotte around about a month from now. And the winner winds up getting the ACC's bid. I just don't think it'll be as the. It probably won't be as the 11th seed though, which Jim Phillips should be happy with. But it's simple and plain. The ACC, they need to get on the phone and they need to get on the phone with Dabo and uh 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 Cristobal and whoever's going to be the new head coach down at Florida State. Because those are your three programs and Virginia Tech. Those four programs need to be your top four
Relevant.
teams every year. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to be relevant. And right now, none of those teams are relevant. None of those teams are good. Some are in limbo with dealing with the coaching searches. The talent, it's subpar overall. I'd say there's some studs, hidden gems with each of those programs, but generally speaking, they've all got to go deeper. They've all got to improve rapidly, and it'll be a race to the top for those four. Who can turn it around? Which coach can lock his program into where it needs to be in the next few years? I don't know how long the window, the runway is for any team anymore, because there's just such a mandate to win now. That's kind of the society we live in. The microwave era of sports is here, and if you can't turn around a program, relatively soon, like immediately, then you're on a short chopping block.
I think the thing with those programs in specific, though, the issue is you're never supposed to be in this spot where we're talking
Right.
about microwave era. You know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah.
never supposed to be 2-10 as Florida State, and then this bad again this year.
Right.
Miami,
No, of course.
Cristobal melts down every November. Every November. The Virginia Tech, you're never supposed to be this bad. So with those programs, it is like, to me, it's acceptable. It's not like you're, I don't know. Not like you're UCLA where I can give you a pass for building up, because you are a basketball school. You need to take time to build the culture. Go ahead, because you're not USC. But Clemson, Virginia Tech, Miami, Florida State, nah, you need to be contending for the ACC championship at the very least every year. You're Miami and Florida State, you need to be contending for national championships. I won't put Clemson that high, because let's make it perfect. Dabo Swinney made Clemson. At least in this era, he made Clemson. So, they go as far as he goes, and he's, for the first time, feeling some heat about his job and being honest about it. So we'll see. Everyone loves Dabo this week because of what he said about the officiating in the ACC. So, hey, I'm with him. Shout out to him. He's not the only one with complaints. Friend did his radio show last Thursday, and he was like, he said, I stopped sending players into the ACC. Because what would happen is I send them in. They tell me, oh, yeah, friend, you're right. This should have been a penalty. Boom, boom, boom. And it does nothing for me. Doesn't change the outcome of the game. Doesn't, you don't go back and replay the game from that spot. They ain't doing nothing but making me mad. So I stopped sending them in. Like, they just need to be better. So, yeah, I'm with Dabo on that. Yesterday, 4:00 our time, was the NFL trade deadline. And boy, did we see some moves. The Jets with a fire sale, acquiring 3 first-round picks. The Cowboys solved some issues at defensive tackle. And the Colts, for my money, got fleeced for Sauce Gardner. I'll let you go ahead and start on one of these.
Well, that's a good way to put it. Although I think there's still something left in the tank for Sauce. So a change of scenery may be just what the doctor ordered, taking him back to the Midwest, as you pointed out in our text messages. They are improving, I think with that, but the jury's out. And like you say, to salvage your not too distant future, giving up first round three first round picks?
And the Bill
two
Nye.
first. Okay. Yes, right. And now Mitchell, he's had some issues. He pulled the Deshaun Jackson, which is notorious, dropping the ball before the end zone kind of deal. But we'll see what that yields. I was surprised Philadelphia did not do more. They did they did make a few moves, even some prior to the last day of the trade window, but kind of surprised they didn't do a little bit more. Some other teams made moves that don't really move the needle for me. Baltimore fans, they got a defensive end. I forget the name at the moment, but
Jones from Tennessee.
Yeah. He's not a world beater, right? Decent player. He's going to give you some pressure off the edge, but is it significant enough to really catapult them beyond where they are and where they're projected to be? I don't think so, right? So, other than that, it was just interesting to watch. Yeah.
I think Jones for the Ravens, that's just one of those guys. Gets some versatility, can play outside linebacker and inside. But I don't trust Zach Orr to use anything correct. I don't know if he knows how to use his toothbrush correctly in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
With the Colts, you give up 2 firsts. That tells me you think Daniel Jones is your guy long term.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Because the old Daniel Jones showed up against Pittsburgh 5 turnovers. You make those trades after that game. If this season starts going downhill, we're all coming back to this one. We're all going to keep pointing to this and the timing of the trade. I just didn't understand that whatsoever. Sauce Gardner, who has not been all that he was built up to be coming out of Cincinnati, this is baffling to me. 2 firsts for a corner not named Patrick Surtain, Christian Gonzalez, or Derek Stingley. I can't co-sign that. I just can't. But for the Jets, hey, you got 2 firsts this year and 2 firsts next year.
Yeah, the Jets. I like what the Jets are doing.
So I hear everybody saying that, stripping the whole thing and brand new culture. What brand new culture? Woody Johnson is the culture of the Jets. As long as he's the owner, I don't see anything changing. And Aaron Glenn's not the head coach for it. He's just not. So the Jets.
Now that I agree on.
For what they did would be smart for any other franchise that actually was one of the proper steps to rebuild. But the issue with the Jets, your owner's one of the worst in football, and you don't have your head coach. And it seems like that's what you're going to stick by and, put all your coins on. So it would be nothing for me. I wouldn't be shocked if the Jets fumble these 4 picks. And apparently, all those are the chart. Go get somebody, maybe even somebody that's on a roster right now. Name the quarterbacks you feel you can win with right now.
In college, are we talking?
No, in the NFL. In the NFL.
Coaches, what was your question? The quarterbacks that can win.
In the NFL right now that you think you can win with.
There are only a handful, obviously, Mahomes, Jackson, Allen, current. Burrows would have been in that loop. He's hurt, obviously. I think Jalen Hurts still goes there, because he's going to manage well. I think Dak Prescott and certainly Baker. I don't know. I forgot it too. Baker's going to win. Stafford's going to win, right? And you can trust those guys. I may be forgetting 1 or 2 others, but outside of that, yes, there's a lot of question marks.
I'm fine with that list. if you say that is the list, I won't disagree
Hmm.
with you. You're either one of those teams. Are you trading those guys?
Absolutely not.
So you're gonna wind up spending a first if you trade for somebody that's already in the NFL. You're gonna spend a first on somebody that's not worth the first.
Right. Yep. That's the
And
point.
in drafting, do I trust the Jets with the evaluation and the development of a quarterback? I say hell no to
So,
both of those.
certainly their evaluation is questionable. However, you look at the fact that they did draft Sam Darnold and he was in their program. And so the fact is, now that he is out of their program, he looks like the player that they thought he was supposed to be.
So they didn't develop him.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And think about this. What's this, like their fourth or fifth regime since Sam Darnold?
Yeah.
Come on now. That was 2016. And it
Well,
feels like forever ago.
there's a
That's
message. There's a message to the fact that a future Hall of Famer came in the building. He got hurt first season, so we give that a asterisk, and really did 1 year with your program, with your organization. 1 year from a Hall of Famer says there's a lot to be desired there. And I go back to your point. Woody Johnson is at the helm, as owner, so a lot of this falls on him.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Eagles. I think they were fine. Their issues are at corner, and they took a flyer on two guys. Jair Alexander, if he's healthy, should be able to play the outside for them and let Cooper DeJean stay in the slot. And if that doesn't work, and you got to keep DeJean outside, you get Michael Carter from the Cardinals and move him inside. So I think that's fine. And they're always looking for pass rush. If I trust any team to develop a pass rusher, it's Philly. They will go get Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins. So I think Howie Roseman had a classic Howie Roseman deadline.
And didn't I hear that they
Cowboys,
signed Brandon Graham again?
yeah, he
Out of
came out. I don't
came out of retirement. Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
what that's about.
Yeah, you went out with a Super Bowl ring. Like, just stay out on top, man. It ain't that
Yeah,
serious.
I don't get it.
Dallas also got themselves a linebacker, Logan Wilson from Cincinnati, so their defense goes from bad to worse. Never been weak. Jacksonville, unsure of Travis Hunter, so they in his injury, so they go get Jacoby Myers from the Raiders. Hopefully that's good for my fantasy team because Geno was not throwing that brother the ball. And the Seahawks got even more loaded, getting Rashid Shaheed from the Saints. So overall, I think some teams did what they needed to do. I'm shocked the Chiefs didn't get running back help. I'm shocked. Well, I'm not shocked. I'm not about to say I'm shocked the Ravens didn't go get offensive line help. I'm not. I'm not shocked the Ravens didn't do anything. That's just what they do.
Yeah, they're not prone to make moves.
Yeah, and even when they do trade for someone, they don't even use them. Last person they traded for and used was Marcus Peters. So, yeah, I don't know. Outside of that, I don't have too many complaints about the deadline. I just don't think. I just think the Colts got fleeced, and I don't trust the Jets' plan for their rebuild. Am I missing any major takeaways?
No, I think you covered it.
All right. Well, we're going to do something that I'm not doing this weekend for Lord knows whatever reason, and head down to South Beach. The Dolphins fired general manager Chris Grier. I am going to echo the sentiment of ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. He better not be the only one that's gone. Because Mike McDaniel, the head coach, is way more of a problem than Chris Grier, the general manager. Tell me if I'm wrong.
And most people have been shouting Tua. It's Tua, and I'm agreeing with that.
Yeah,
it's Tua.
Those two. If you're going to make a list of Miami's problems and rank them in order of priority, Tua, McDaniel come before Grier.
Agreed. Yeah, this is a case where I think somebody had to be the fall guy, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, Chris Greer was he. Just by proximity of his position as general manager. I mean, he's a long-standing organizational guy, so it's kind of heartbreaking that way that he's come up through the ranks. You get him in the GM position, but he's not given a fighting chance because there's just seems to be a lock on wanting to hold Tua to the quarterback role. And I personally just don't think Tua, I wasn't excited about Tua Tagovailoa coming out of college. And, he has proven the point. There's a pitfall of watching collegiate quarterbacks shine, and then the curious nature is, will it translate? So I'll say this, and this is going to be interesting, maybe a hot take in some realm. Previous eras and decades had it right. There are some quarterbacks that shine in college that basically should be wide receivers or skill players in the pros. And not because they can't physically do the quarterback thing, but because it's a head thing. And I just think that there are way too many quarterbacks present day, particularly some of the dual threat quarterbacks that are physically gifted in some regards, but I don't think they have the intellectual capacity to navigate quarterback effectively enough to make their teams contenders. Does that make sense?
You're gonna have some of our black fan base mad at you, huh? That's
Yeah, the NAACP is going to be
the
shouting. Yeah, because
NAACP gonna be trying to get you out of here.
I'm not going to mince words though. I mean what I mean. It's just true. And now give them a chance. Okay, I'm okay with that. But the reality is some quarterbacks who are in the league and are, the dual threat, the era of the dual threat quarterback is here. We've got Lamar Jackson, multiple time MVP. So it's not that it's not a possibility. It's just not a totality. It's not a given. Just because a guy is a world beater at Louisiana Tech doesn't mean he should be an NFL quarterback. That's my point.
So I don't know if there's any quarterback in the NFL right now that I think fits that description, other than Anthony Richardson. You want to move him to tight end at some point. I'm not mad at. I don't think there are. I don't think there are too many Terrell Pryors in the NFL right now. I don't. I will say we have an issue with teams that know they can't develop worth a damn, talking themselves into some of these prospects, and that's across football and basketball. That is an issue for me. I wouldn't put Tua in that position. I mean, that dude hits his head enough. No,
I'm not suggesting that he not be. In the case of guys like him and maybe, surprisingly Justin Fields, and there's a few others, I just don't think they're starting quarterbacks or franchise quarterbacks.
No.
So that some are.
If Fields takes the pay cut, like he'd be the perfect backup for Lamar Jackson and Baltimore.
Perfect. Yeah, I think some of these guys. Yeah, it's the moment, right?
Yeah. Now I will say this: the Dolphins have an issue of being a super soft team.
Right, very much so.
However, I attribute that more to McDaniel than Greer, because that is the culture that McDaniel has set. That is the system that McDaniel runs. It worked for 2 or 3 years, and then everyone called on to it and said, "Yeah, we just watched what the Bills do to them every year." But the boiling point for me was 2023. They went into M&T Bank Stadium week before Christmas. In Baltimore, I was there. Me, Pops, and Justin were there. Bullied Miami. I thought that was the boiling point. And Patrick Queen got to talking this talk in the post game like, hey, everybody can do all this finesse and flashy stuff and running around, and it's all cute. But at some point, you got to come ready to hit. And at some point, you got to come ready to play some football. After that, it all went. If you think about the Dolphins, it all went downhill after that game because they had a stretch of Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City in the playoffs, and it was freezing. And they haven't looked the same since.
Yeah.
And that's just that's type of player McDaniel wants type of thing. Now you're the GM, so you have oversight over this whole thing. So you do have to go for letting it get to this point. But I don't think you're first on the list. If I'm Chris Grier, unless it's Stephen Ross telling me I can't fire Mike McDaniel, I'd have got McDaniel out of there before Ross got me out of there. That's just me. But whoever the next GM is needs to get McDaniel out and needs to find Tua's replacement because the guy just ain't there. He's not.
No.
The accountability isn't there. The playmaking isn't there. The toughness isn't there. The leadership isn't there. The personality isn't there. There's just nothing I like about Tua Tagovailoa.
Yep, I agree. He's height challenged, and he's a lefty. That's probably the only thing, the left-handed quarterback factor, which is not proving to be advantageous to him. He's no Steve Young. But I agree. Yeah.
Steve Boomer. Who else was lefty? Mike Vick. Tebow was awful. Oof, Tebow was awful. Trying to think. I might be missing something. Anyways, over into college ranks, the coaching carousel, continues. Alabama let go of Hugh Freeze this weekend. Auburn, let go of Hugh Freeze this weekend. And Arkansas and Penn State's number one candidates came off the board. Nebraska signed Matt Rule to an extension days before he lost yet another ranked game. Still has not won against a ranked opponent since he was at Temple. And SMU made last be a top 10 paid head coach in all of college football. So Penn State and Arkansas are still left searching. And Auburn is now looking for a new head coach. There's been so much turnaround. And these ADs no longer know who to hire. I sat down in the office Monday, looked at all these openings, and I think I came up with the perfect hires for each of these programs. Now, there's a couple of group of 6 programs that are going to be without head coaches after this that I didn't really care to dive too deep into to find a match for them. But I think I've got this one figured out. If you will indulge me. So we're going to start with LSU. I've been on this podcast for weeks saying this one, so I won't waste too much time. Don't overthink it. Just go get John Summerall from Tulane. You're LSU. You recruit yourself. Everyone in your state wants to play for you. You've got all the money in the world. You don't need to go big name hunting because it does not work in college football. Just go get a guy who understands the landscape of where you are at and can coach some football. Go get John Summerall. Now we'll go up to their rivals, Arkansas. I'm saying they should get Ryan Silverfield out of Memphis. Memphis might as well be Arkansas location-wise. Another good head coach doing an amazing job and in the best group of 5, group of 6 conference in the country. It won't be much of an adjustment for him location-wise. Go get Ryan Silverfield. Florida. Mm-hmm. I'm saying go get Joe Brady, the architect of that 2019 LSU offense. Gainesville guy. Florida has weapons. It just needs someone that knows how to use those weapons. LSU's off the table. So Joe Brady, go be a Gator. Now here's where things start to get a little controversial. I say Maryland needs to let go of Mike Locksley. That is not controversial. Who they hired is James Franklin. I don't think James Franklin needs another big job. That's another issue in college football. This recycling of these guys who can't get it done, thinking they just need a new location. No. James Franklin needs to be somewhere where he can get them into the top 25, get the program on the right track. and then someone else comes in and gets them over the hump.
And gets them over the hump. Interesting. Wasn't James Franklin a candidate for Maryland before?
Yeah. When they had no business firing their head coach, Franklin was a candidate. Yes, he's been offensive coordinator at Maryland. He spent the last Lord knows however years at Penn State taking recruits from Maryland. Now just go flip it. Go flip it. I think that would be great for the Terps. You finally get somebody who can keep some DC talent, some DMV talent, some Baltimore talent in College Park. So I'd say Franklin to the Terps. Shane Beamer, you're never going to win at South Carolina. Go home to Virginia Tech. Go finish what your daddy started up there. They need you. Auburn. This is probably the most controversial one. And after that, I think these are really pedestrian. Jimbo Fisher wants to get back into coaching. He's familiar with Auburn. He's been there. And I don't know if you've got anywhere else to turn. I don't know who wants to come in there and just be little brother to Alabama. So I say you give Jimbo a try, and if it doesn't work out, that's fine. You don't pay him some massive contract. He's got no leverage to demand some massive contract. I say you go get Jimbo, and if it bottoms out, oh well, you'll probably have a better coaching cycle to get your guy when it's time to move on from Jimbo than you will now. Penn State, Charles Huff has been an assistant up there. He's done great things at Southern Miss, and at Marshall before that. I think Manny Diaz, he's a Florida State grad. I say Seminoles should bring him home. Oregon's offensive coordinator, Will Stein, I think that should be UCLA. I think Duke, once it loses Manny Diaz to Florida State, should get Bob Chesney from James Madison. I think that one speaks for itself.
Okay.
Now, since I've got Memphis losing Ryan Silverfield, I say just bring Mike Norvell home. Let him run it back in Memphis. That seemed to be the perfect spot for him. Mike Locksley, his whole appeal is that he could recruit. He was on the Nick Saban staff. So UAB is open right now. Let him go to UAB, make them a good team, the American. Hugh Freeze, let him go to Southern Miss. I think Luke Fickell needs to be out at Cincinnati. I think Alex Golesh needs to replace him. And then Luke Fickell should take his talents to Tulane. He's the reason Cincinnati is out of the American and in the Big 12 now. So you can go back to that conference at a program where you've already got it made for you. I think that's fine for Luke Fickell. Wisconsin, I think they should take Brian Hartline from Ohio State. Oklahoma State, I've got them grabbing Eric Morris. Morris has been pretty good at North Texas right now. So you're just making a trip north. Jerry Mack going from Kennesaw to South Florida. Scott Satterfield leaving Cincinnati for South Carolina. Yeah, I actually messed up. So my fault. It's going to be Fickell getting out of Wisconsin, Hartline replacing them. And I think South Carolina, once it loses Beamer, will be looking for another big name. So they'll poach Scott Satterfield from Cincinnati. And then Cincinnati will have to replace him. Alex Golesh.
You don't think South Carolina would go big name, honey?
Who are you going to attract in that loaded conference? And you're just one of the bottom tier schools in that conference, you know?
Granted.
And again, like I said, big name hunting just, it's not working. And then last but not least, I think I found the guy for Andrew Luck and Stanford. Tyson Helton at Western Kentucky. It's been a great team in that conference for a good little while now. He was with his brother Clay at USC. So you know the West Coast. Get Tyson Helton over to Stanford. So that is my perfect off-season coaching carousel results. If these programs listen to me, all of these programs to get themselves back on the right track. I think the only one I question is South Carolina because I really just don't know what they can do. But outside of that, that's how I'm feeling.
Yeah, I like how you broke that down. You're much more advanced in terms of watching coordinators than I am. No surprises to your thoughts there, and your logic makes sense for a lot of these teams. There are certain coaches who have had high profile positions that need, steps down,
Yes.
quite frankly. And then there's some coordinators who need their opportunities to play in the big leagues. So I'd be interested to see, keeping that list and kind of see how close you are to what becomes reality.
I will save it somewhere because I know it's not going to happen. And when it doesn't work out for these schools, I'm going to come back to that list and say, I told you so.
Told you so.
Ja Morant, 1 game suspension. Go ask the coaching staff. Is the writing on the wall? Is he done in Memphis?
It may be. It may be. Ja Morant is a mercurial superstar at this point. He's got to earn it now on the court. The antics. He's more knowledge. He's more known and more relevant now for everything but basketball. His explosive, meteoric rise to stardom coming in the league because of his athletic ability. Has started to diminish, and he's an AI figure. But the difference is Allen Iverson was very relevant on the court for the majority of his career. It wasn't until the end of his career that he started to decline to the point where he wasn't relevant in the league, as their talents around him just didn't compliment him enough to keep him, in the playoff hunt and so on and so forth. And that's typical at the end of a year, but at the end of a career. But Ja Morant's very early in his career, and he is starting to fade from relevancy. So I think it could be time for a change. I think he needs a coach that will give him the freedom to be the stud he is, but that can regulate him as a man. That's my opinion.
So for me with Ja, all the knucklehead stuff we covered on this podcast while I was going on. Like no excuses for all that. Just yeah. Dude has some growing up to do, especially with the whole trying to be a street dude stuff coming from where he comes from. Just made no sense. My thing is if he's upset with the Grizzlies brass, though, I'm fine with it. Because what in the world did you fire Taylor Jenkins for? And you forced Jenkins to get rid of his guys on the staff and replace them with your own guys and try to go more analytics heavy and boom, boom, boom. Like, I would run out of Memphis after that if I were Ja. So I'm not too mad at him for that. I just don't know what the Grizzlies are doing. I really don't. So from that standpoint, I understand his frustration and the suspension. Like you saw last year when the Heat suspended Jimmy Butler, they traded him right after. If Memphis wants to do that, that's fine. I just don't know what return they're going to get because Ja had all the knucklehead stuff going on. I think the only strong possibility would probably be New Orleans. Like, hey, just reunite the number 1 and 2 picks from the 2019 draft class. Zion Williamson are both South Carolina guys. Get some excitement down there on the Bayou. That's some fast break basketball for you. And you probably have to send Derek Queen to Memphis, who would probably trade Jaren Jackson, restart this thing all over again.
Ooh, interesting.
At least Derek would get a chance to play because Willie Green hasn't been playing him. That's the only outcome that I can picture in my mind right now. But I think all of this started towards the end of last year when they replaced Taylor Jenkins with Thomas Isolo for no reason.
Yeah, agreed. Taylor Jenkins was a really good coach.
Him, Michael Malone, they didn't get jobs this cycle. It made no sense to me. Like, where are you going to find coaches like that? I'm not Like, how does Brian Keith still has the job in Washington? The dude has the second worst winning percentage among any coach that is coached at minimum the amount of games Keith has coached in NBA history.
Yeah.
The second worst winning percentage in history. And the Wizards keep him. And they're 1-6, 1-7 right now. Like, huh? You know, Doc Rivers is still employed. Granted, he's got Milwaukee playing good so far this year, but we'll see how that goes. Like it's
Just
put up
wait.
a shut up time. Yeah, it's put up a shut up time for Darko Rajakovic in Toronto with me. This needs to be Jamal Mosley's last year in Orlando. They need to go get their guy to get them over the hump. That needs to be either Jenkins or Malone. Yeah, Brooklyn. Oof, yeah, I wouldn't touch the dumpster fire that is the Brooklyn Nets. I think the West, for the most part, is pretty set though. I'll leave the rest of the West alone. But yeah, I don't know. The NBA baffles me. It truly does. It truly does. Speaking of the NBA, we've got a new freshman class in college basketball. Now, this is your first season on the podcast. So I got to let you in on one of my thought processes because I don't know if I've ever expressed this while we just, converse the way we do. Every year in these sports, but especially in the NBA, all you hear is next year's draft is going to be better. Next year's draft. You hear it in the NBA for the lottery, and you hear it in the NFL for quarterbacks. We've been hearing that for how many years now? And how many years has it actually been true? Not many. I cannot stand when we hear that. This year, I might have been wrong on the class of freshmen, though. Obviously, this one game. But AJ Dybance and Darren Peterson are better than I thought. I already liked Koa Pete at Arizona, and leading them to that win over Florida the way he did was impeccable. I mean, the Gators couldn't, after taking that first big lead, they couldn't really find much offense and then still had a chance to come back. And Boogie Flan, who I'm not big on, missed a wide open corner three to tie that game. Cameron Boozer had a rough night last night, but I still think he's going to be fine. I like Michael Brown at Louisville.
I agree.
I am high on this freshman class. I think we might actually have one this year. I really do. And AJ Dybance with Rob Wright in that crew out in Brigham Young, the Cougars are guaranteed to go Sweet 16. Guaranteed. I'm still sticking with the Duke versus Florida national championship, but Brigham Young, Arizona, I'm guaranteeing Sweet 16. I might go as far as the Elite Eight by the time conference play starts. We just got to see how things turn out. But I'm a fan. And I will say this one thing also. Like as heated as I am at Kevin Willard for leaving Maryland, and as much as I can't stand that blue school out on the main line, I won't say their names. They actually look decent this year. They didn't look bad against Brigham Young. They look decent. It's killing my heart to see Zion Stanford in that jersey. Bryce Lindsey's a Baltimore guy from Poly. Lit it up at James Madison. It kills me to see him in those colors too. But I actually like what they've got going on in the non-Philly school that they keep calling a Philly school. I think they're going to be good this year. They might be in on the bubble for the tournament. They might be going back to dancing. I've got to confess.
Yeah. One thing that I love looking at, I'm looking at the rankings of these freshmen that are coming in. You're seeing more skilled players, overall skilled players, as opposed to just raw athletes.
Thank you. Yes, all these dudes, they can't do nothing but run and jump, and we're acting like they got some skill too.
Raw athletes are always the shiny new toy in college, and that becomes the hype for the NBA draft. And I have watched college sports long enough to know it does not pan out. It's almost like my earlier take about you see a dynamic quarterback. He can run and do all the marvelous things in college. First of all, he's playing Powder Cup teams. So some of these highlights, Sports Center highlights are against the worst defenses he could see in a season. And it makes him look like all-world Superman. Same holds true with basketball. One that comes to mind, Blake Griffin. Now, Blake Griffin was a number 1 pick, I believe. Blake Griffin, lit the world up in Oklahoma, but he was dominating who? Right? Did he
Whoa. No. We're talking about the Big 12, which has been
I'm not saying the conference wasn't but listen, I'm not saying he wasn't a stud, and he had competition. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is there was no one on his level. The same holds true with Zion Williamson in terms of his talent. There was no one on his level. So, it's different. I'm trying to find an era. So, you go back to the 90s, boom, right? Antoine Jameson's playing the Tim Duncans of the world. Rasheed Wallace is playing the Joe Smiths of the world. There was competition, which is why all of those guys got in the league and, generally speaking, panned out to be really good players, some ultimately Hall of Famers. Or you look at the era where it's Iverson, Kerry Kittles, Ray Allen, all those guys in the Big East competing. It wasn't like AI was just by himself the only stud in the league. So that's my point.
The conferences are more loaded with teams than they are with individual players now. Is what
correct.
I hear you. Okay.
And so when you ride the wave that way and you say, oh, this guy, talking again, I'm just picking on Blake Griffin right now. He came in the league. He's a stud. He can run and jump. But then what? He never developed the techniques to be a long-standing player, because running and jumping, is going to be prone to injuries, which is what happened to him. And then he had nothing to fall back on.
It took too long to develop him because he had it by the time he got to Detroit. To me, Blake Griffin in Detroit was his most skilled version. He was putting the ball on the deck. He was running point power forward. He was shooting the three. Shooting off the dribble, off the step back. Like, had Blake Griffin combined his Detroit skill set with his Clippers athleticism, we might be talking about a top 5 power forward of all time. And I've got no shame in saying that. So,
and I don't.
It's about how long you take to develop the skill with that athleticism. The thing is, today, Americans don't develop basketball players. So if you're getting by just running and jumping, they think that's perfectly fine, and they don't have to do anything.
And then you get exposed. Yep. And then you get exposed.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. And what you're saying is, so far, what we believe to be true about this freshman class, that ain't the case.
Right. It looks like they've got the skills to match. Some are athletes, but the majority of the top ranked freshmen in this class seem to be skilled. Boozer is not just a name, but he's actually got a whole skill set. He's got a package already. And that's exciting to watch. And then when you talk about guys that run and jump, if they're able to develop, best case scenario is Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon was just kind of, and we'll see Paolo may fall in that same suit, just filtering, just kind of wasting away in Orlando, a team that wasn't going anywhere, but his skills were improving. And then he gets to Denver, changes his game, quite frankly, also changes the fact that he's not the go-to figure, and he wins championships, right?
Yeah.
Or a championship. So there you go.
Yeah, no, I think the only guy I got on that watch is Dibansa. But watching him last night, I'm like, not last night, Monday night. Watching him, like, okay, he might be more than a run and jump guy from New York. That's my concern. I hate New York basketball right now. It's not a good product to me. So if he can continue on this path, I'll be fine with him. Over to the NFL. Before we wrap up, the Colts and the Packers both got upset this week. You got to watch the Panthers upset Green Bay. Pittsburgh made Daniel Jones look like the old him. So can we start with Green Bay? Can I get you on my side of Jordan Love? I'm telling you, I don't think he is that guy. It's not going to be Favre, Rodgers, Love. It's going to be Favre, Rodgers, drop off. And then maybe they find their next guy. But I don't think they hit on three straight the way we believed early on. Like the last 2 years, Jordan Love has shown me it's still the same issues. He's still the same guy. He is not developing.
Yeah, I agree. And, as you were breaking down the coaches carousel in college football, I've got similar thoughts towards that with the quarterbacks. There are some quarterbacks that, like a Daniel Jones, which we'll get to in a second, probably will shine in better places.
Especially in that system that they're running in Green Bay. That's also being run in Minnesota. That's also being run in Cleveland. That's also being run in San Francisco. That's also being run with the Rams. And I might be missing some.
Right. Yeah, no. I mean, obviously, because the coaching tree, coming from that West Coast era, and that frame of offense, as you're putting it, it
Seattle and Miami run it now.
Yeah, it stretches wide and deep. So I agree. And then there are certain quarterbacks that would do better in that. So I'm thinking about the fact that Jaden Daniels, if he can stay healthy, if he can get back, I don't think it's set in stone he's going to be the franchise guy in Washington. I think they're going to get over him, or they're going to need to at some point. Not that he's not talented. Hear what I'm saying. He is talented. He certainly showed it last year, taking them to the NFC Championship. I just don't think for his benefit, he needs to stay in Washington. I think he needs to go to a different, and the Packers would be a good fit for him. There's some others that come to mind. Penix in Atlanta. Atlanta's not going to develop him to the one he needs to be. I think once he gets to a different program, you'll see different results.
I think,
and that was the lefty we were forgetting.
Yeah. I think Atlanta just needs to move him from Raheem Morris, and the next staff they bring in needs to be a staff dedicated to Michael Penix and his development.
Yeah, so that team has offensive weapons, but they don't have an offensive-minded coach. Exactly.
No. Yeah. No, so that's a perfect one right there. I think I already touched on what I have to touch on with Indy, whereas the old Daniel Jones comes back. This Sauce Gardner trade is going to be bad. Point blank. With Green Bay, that team starts and ends with Jordan Love for me. It really does. I think they're going to lose to Philly this weekend. I think, Baltimore's defense looks like it's about to do the same thing it did last year. Start slow and get better each week after the bye. If that is the case, I think they're going to lose to Baltimore. I'm just not big on Green Bay. I don't know who I trust in the NFC North. I don't trust anyone in the NFC North right now. I really don't.
Right.
You got. I'm done on Detroit. I was done on them after last year. Well, actually, no. I had hope for them this year because I thought the new coordinators were going to change something. I'm already on the next season. Yeah, I'm already on the next season for Detroit. Chicago, not a fan of. Green Bay, not a fan of Jordan Love. Minnesota, they got to figure out what's going on that quarter. Should have kept Sam Darnold. Should have kept him. He did all that, and you lied on J.J. McCarthy, who I'm not big on, but hey, beat Detroit. But I'm just not sold on that kid. Who knows? But you mentioned Jaden Daniels. I think he might be RG3 2.0. It's very similar. An athlete that wants to stay in the pocket instead of use his feet, which is going to hurt him in the long haul, right? Played a favorable schedule his rookie year that made his team overperform. And I said this was going to happen. I said they played a weak schedule last year and they overperformed, and now they're going to play a schedule that they're not ready for this season. And to make it worse, They thought last year was who they were and not a result of their schedule. So what they did was have a very lackadaisical offseason and not upgrade at the positions where they obviously needed to upgrade. They sipped their own Kool-Aid, and now they're playing a tougher schedule with the same team as last year. It was never going to be a good season. And now the injuries are kicking in for Jaden Daniels. Even when they do right, they got to do wrong in Washington. It's just, oh, Lord have mercy. It's ridiculous. I don't know how they still have fans. Like, the city of D.C., I can't find a Wizards fan, even at Capital One Arena. But I can find Commanders fans. And y'all stick with the Commanders. Y'all leave the Wizards. Now, granted, I found something yesterday. So the Wizards and Celtics played yesterday, right? The only time, no, my fault. They played tonight. The only time those two have had similar levels of success at the same time is in the 70s, right? Wizards got their only championship. They went to 4 finals. I think the Celtics won 2 in that decade.
Mm-hmm.
Since the Wizards' last championship, they've been to the playoffs just 5 times. No, they've been to the playoffs 5 times, but they've only won 5 playoff series. I think they've only won 5 playoff series since their last championship.
Wow. Okay.
In that same span, the Celtics have won 5 championships. That's enough to make me hop off a Wizards, bandwagon if I'm a Wizards fan, right? Now, what's Washington done since Doug Williams for me to stick around? You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. But yeah, in Washington, they fumbled off season, and they got the injury issues going on top of a natural schedule and stuff, the cupcake stuff you had last year. They're done. They're wraps. I've got nothing for them.
And I don't root for the Commanders. They were my team in the Doug Williams era just because Baltimore didn't have a program. However, I root for that front office. So Magic Johnson's a minority owner. There's some other pieces there. The guy from Philadelphia, I forget his name at the moment, but yeah, I'm rooting for that organization to turn it around, and time will tell. I'll say, they'll figure it out. I'm just hoping the brass there is smart enough to figure it out. But to the point of Jaden Daniels, yes, his injuries, just his career is playing out much like RG3, very much so, and it's scary, right? And so that was why I alluded to earlier. He needs to maybe get a change of pace, get out of DC, get to an offensive-minded guy. Maybe he's the heir apparent for Matt Stafford, or maybe he's the over the hump for Detroit with Jared Goff. Once Jared Goff is no longer able to give you anything there, so time will tell. But I think he's got to figure out. He needs to watch more Lamar Jackson tape. For all that Lamar does, he stays healthy, relative, right? So that's where I would start for him. Maybe train with Lamar. I don't know. And Jaden's got to get physically stronger. He is still very skinny. Very skinny. Watching that nasty injury the other night, that doesn't happen if you've got a little more bulk on your biceps, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. He is a string bean. I just got one message to these black quarterbacks. Don't let wanting to prove you can throw
ruin your career.
Your actual gift and ruin your career. I'm watching it with a young brother up here in Syracuse right now by the name of Ricky Collins. Dude's got legs. Wants to prove he can throw so desperately, he'll force some bad ones, and it's resulting in him getting benched. Stop letting that ruin your career. Just play the game. Everything else will come to it. Last one before we get out of here. Jake Paul's camp is canceled to fight with Tank Davis. Tank's got another domestic violence case. Yeah, this one's home for us. You want to talk about a guy who had a real chance to go down as a legend, and it's just ruined his legacy. It's Tank Davis. You know, the
Very
fight
much so.
resume, the fight resume just hasn't been super strong. You know, his best test was Lamont Roach. He went to a draw, didn't give him his rematch. He said you went chasing the bag for this clown show fight, and then you get in more trouble. You know, domestic violence accidents and hit and runs and all that. It's you know, can't even support the guy anymore at this point. You want to talk about somebody who just, you know, knuckleheaded himself out of being somebody. That's Gervonta Davis. It's ridiculous.
Agreed. So his saving grace at this point, I don't know if you can see the shirt. Go to the WWE, make a little money, right? You know, just be kind of an ambassador, right? You know, you sit in the front and you spark up some, you know, storylines. A guy comes over and challenges your manhood, and you take that and run with it. That's where you are right now, because yes, to the point, his resume is subpar, and agreed. Lamont Roach was the next move, and he blew it. And he blew it because, quite frankly, I think Roach was destined to beat him. I personally think Roach won the first fight, but you know he got the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, that Tank Paul fight was not exciting to me at all. It did nothing to deliver any anticipation on my end, and so it being canceled is just, you know, kind of fruitful.
Yeah, and it's just like you had a chance to correct a major wrong. Because Tank and Roach were never supposed to fight in Brooklyn. Like that fight is supposed to be at the National Harbor. That's Baltimore versus DC.
Mm-hmm.
That fight's supposed to be in DC. You had a chance to do the rematch, do it bigger and better in DC, and you chose Baltimore.
Yeah,
and then you got yourself in more trouble. Yeah, some people you just can't help. Some people just can't get right. You got anything else before we get out of here?
No, I am excited because I think there's a chance the Panthers play the Saints at home this week, I believe, and yeah, unless the sky falls, I don't see us losing to the Saints at home. So exciting. You know, the Panthers will have a 2-game tick up in the win column. That's the first for, you know, this franchise and God knows how long. And it's exciting because now I'm here in Charlotte. There's so much sports going on. Last night, the Vital Classic happened. We kind of dove into that, and college football is, you know, at its peak. You know, we're going into the playoff season, and so it's a great time to be in this area. It's a great time to be a sports fan, unless you have YouTube TV, because now there's a dispute with Disney, and so I don't get ESPN. I didn't even get to see the Vital Classic. I am pissed. No. Fix it. Whatever the dispute is, YouTube, Disney, fix it, because I need my ESPN so I can watch some basketball. Okay.
Oh man, yeah. I'm with Spectrum now, and I'm happy about it. I gotta say, because these the streaming services just they don't get it right, because they're always in a contract dispute with somebody. It seems like it's always Disney. So yeah, Bob Iger, you don't need that much money, buddy. You'll be all right. Yeah, that's all I got. So we'll be out of here, and we'll see y'all next Wednesday. Take care.
See you next time. Miss you, Sean.